B3 Insurance and Funeral Services. He was born in Springs, raised in Guatemala, and really has built a business that is national. I was recently at a funeral out of Gauteng, and there was B3 with a fleet and all of the full service. And so really seeing a national footprint there. But he does join us in studio, and on 06198700, you can definitely reach out and maybe even, share your B3 stories with him this evening. Please, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Good evening, Nolitando and your colleague, and good evening to all the Power FM listeners.
So, Dr. Matthews, I would have said that you were born in Springs, you grew up in Guatemala, so you are from the deep East Rand. It's what I'd call the very, very deep East Rand. But let's just talk about, your childhood and everything that leads you to one day deciding that you will start a business such as B3.
Yeah, no, thanks for the opportunity once more. Definitely one was born and bred in Guatemala, from humble beginnings. This is where one comes from. I want to tell it to the world. I come from a very, very poor family. But obviously, as you grow, you have ambitions, wishes, and that's what always I've been toying around, that what do I want to become one day? And one took just a conscious decision that, you want to change your life for the better. And that's when it started, and to be where I am. So if I have to put it how it all started, to establish a company like B3, once more, we started in 1991, to be precise.
I was born that year.
Is that
yes.
So?
It's 32 years ago.
It's when we started the business. And it's so funny how we started the business. In actual fact, we were working for an insurance company. I was working for an insurance company. And we went on some industrial dispute with the insurance company then. And it was those days when it was still Transvaal, Free State. All the provinces were still divided by then. And fortunately, I was the chairman of Transvaal in the union. So we went to go and negotiate in Cape Town with the insurance company. And as we sat there in negotiating, I was listening very attentively to all the arguments, especially from these whites, what they were putting across. And as they were talking, something just said, Mogafe, from these white guys, forget, you'll never get anything from them. Fast forward, when we got back to Joburg to give feedback to members, the story I had to put across is that members, as far as I'm concerned, whatever we are doing, it's a waste of time. They then said, why? And, the union people, they were very concerned about my statement. And I had to put it across that why I'm saying that is because what I saw, what I heard when we went to negotiate in Cape Town. I saw how stubborn, obstinate are those white people. And the irony of it, it's about what now? 35 years ago. So to put it, if not mistaken, around there, even today, things that we fought for then, even today, they're still like that. Nothing has changed. Because to give people a little bit of a background, we're fighting for commission. We could not understand why must you go and work and recruit a person who must come and invest to an insurance company for 30 years and we're only paid for 2 years. That's one of the things that made us to go on strike. Then, immediately after the strike, one took a conscious decision that cannot happen. I cannot continue doing this. And that's where I then said, Mogafe, think out of the box. You need to start something. all insurance representatives, their ambition is to become a broker because the commission is much bigger. But there are also disadvantages. You know, you lose all the perks, medical aid, housing subsidy, provident fund, stuff like that. So half the time, those are the things that make you to be scared to want to leave, insurance companies and become a broker or an independent broker. But after that strike, I said, come what may. The three of us decided to start a brokerage, which officially started business June 1991. We had to go out and look for contracts. Let me tell you once more the irony. The same company that we were fighting with, they were the first to give us a contract.
Interesting.
Then it was also easy, maybe a bit of luck, that most representatives or reps, they were very disgruntled and unhappy with the situation. So when we told them that we are starting a brokerage, can they join us? We got such an overwhelming support from, I think we started about 50 brokers, if my memory can still serve me to the best of my ability. Then we started selling insurance, getting other contracts, selling different products, Maybe just to try and fast forward, after 5 years, that's where we also had to sit down and re-strategize.
Interesting.
Exactly when we were completing our 60th month, that's the month we could not pay our people.
Sure.
Not that we did not have the money, because we worked. We were just supposed to be paid. I remember it was those days, there were no cell phones. One of my brother would go to the insurance company to collect the check, and in my office I would have all the checks ready, so that immediately after he has collected the check, then he must rush to the bank to deposit the check. Then as soon as the check is cleared, then we can give people checks. To my disappointment, on that day, I then got a call from my colleague who had gone to collect the check that, Mogafe, don't ask me too many questions. I said, what? There's only one thing that you want to know. I don't have the check with me. Yep. You can think about it. And, about 70 people that are waiting to collect their checks. Instead, I had to call them to the conference room to deliver those bad news that they cannot be paid. And you know what the reason? My colleague later told me that when he got there, he got the secretary. It was on a Friday. And when he asked for the check, he says, they did not leave a check. They left a message that they don't pay month end anymore. They'll pay us on the 4th.
Sure.
That's at times when we talk about apartheid, maybe ladies like you, when you say you're 32, you don't really where we come from, how we suffered.
Yes. And Dr. Mogafe, I'm going to ask you, interrupt you a little bit. It is 7:30 or 19:29. Mind as Ibunde is on standby with Power News headlines. When we return, we'll definitely continue our conversation. Who is the executive chairman of B3 Insurance and Funeral Services. Now, before we went to go quickly to Power News headlines, Dr. Mogafe, you were telling us about not being able, to pay your staff, and that day when, your colleague calls you and says, they say that the new date to get the check is the 4th and no longer month. And talk to us about moving forward from there.
Yeah, we then had to go back to the drawing board to re-strategize, and that's where we then said we need to start something that we can control. We must definitely take charge of our own lives, and that's when we decided to come up and to sell funeral schemes. And as I say, those years I can remember, premiums were around 5 rand, 10 rand, and it was not easy to convince our sales people to change from selling insurance life, because the commission is big, to come and sell where the commission is less. But we had to encourage them that the difference is that the funeral scheme has a recurring component. There is an ongoing commission that you always get. Then they ultimately understood and they went out to sell. Let me tell you another interesting story about that. Our salespeople came up so much business that from the admin point of view, we could not cope.
Oh, interesting.
You can imagine, normally everybody wants sales or want new business. But because we could not cope, we had to go to our salespeople to say, please, take it slow. Don't write too much, stuff like that, because we wanted to keep up with the administration. But maybe to fast track how we also had to start now the funeral business.
Yes.
Which before I get to that, I need to clarify that up front. In the eyes of the people, when they see B3, they see an undertaking company. Whereas our core business is insurance.
Interesting. Okay.
That's our primary business. Service, secondary.
Okay.
Then I want to tell you how we started.
Yes.
And why we had to start now, what people think we are, which is the service provider.
Yes.
We were paying claims like any other broker. When you come and claim, we'd give you a check, and the clients would then ask us to recommend undertaker. Then depending from which area were you coming from, would recommend any, not that we had a relationship, but any undertaker that would come to our heads at that time. But let me tell you, the feedback that we got from the clients about service, it was so bad that it made us to decide that let's go and do some research. And definitely we found that that's not on how this business is being operated. That's not on. If you don't know, maybe let me tell you. In the olden days, number one, you wouldn't find a youngster in the funeral business. It's all pensioners.
Okay, interesting.
After pensioning, then you'd go and open up an undertaker. Even the workers would be old people. I don't know whether was it coming from that people were starting to prepare themselves for death, that they must have something who must take them 6 feet under the ground. And then we saw those gaps in old people. We saw the gaps that mobility was a challenge, using old cars. And we did not know nothing at all about the funeral business. But we took a very conscious decision or a guiding point of philosophy. We said to ourselves, we don't know what to do, how to do it, but let's go out and do it differently.
Okay.
And that became a driving force for B3, that we have committed to do things differently. Let's do them. And we committed ourselves to that.
So, Mogafe, when we look at B3 today, let's maybe zone in on the insurance part of the business and building that, because you're actually a salesman at heart. You studied sales and marketing. You went and you got your sales qualification. And, I'm also wondering the role that qualification played in you building this national business today, being able to convince a person to put their money with you. That
qualification, it was so important because it really taught us, or taught me, the basics of business. Questions that you need to plan. You need to have an objective. What is that you want to achieve? And you need to be realistic, all those things. And when I came out, I said, let me practice. Let's do what the book is telling us to do. And that assisted me a great deal, to move forward. And it became such an important compass for me. Even to date, one is still utilizing it in my business.
Interesting.
And thereafter, obviously, we had to grow the business. As we speak today, I think we have more than 32 branches.
Sure.
I stand to be corrected. Maybe let me also say I'm semi-retired now. I may not have all the facts now because I have the youngsters of your age. My CEO, I think he's about 39 years.
Amazing.
The guys, and he has a young team because we also saw it fit that it's about time that we have done what we're supposed to do, but it's about time we must give to the youngsters who must come with new ideas. So I'm just like in a plane where they say, sit back, fasten your seatbelt, and enjoy your flight. That's really what one is trying to do. But coming back, I think we have a staff of about 300. And we have a fleet. Our fleet also exceeds about 120 cars, which unfortunately it's another expensive exercise to run a funeral service, especially the way we as blacks do things.
Yes.
There is one thing that I wish one day we can come out of it. It's off-bearing on a Saturday.
Interesting. Why is that the case, Dr. Mogafe?
You can imagine. Let's look at our white counterparts. They bury from Monday to Friday. The work that they do from Monday to Friday, you are expected to do it in one day. Not even one day, possibly half a day, because it depends from one area to the other. If you take areas like Pretoria, they prefer to bury in the morning. So meaning if you have